Hi everybody, my name is Rick Tyler, and I am, this is my first video. I'm an avid record collector, and I collect just about all American music, and I like to watch videos of people also to see what's in their personal collection. But one thing I did notice is that most of these people that have these collections collect mostly rock. Which is nothing wrong with rock. I like rock myself, but there are other albums that are not shown, which I want to show, that the old country stuff, for example, and the old popular music stuff. And that's what my videos are going to basically be about. We'll get into some rock and roll also, as I find my stuff down through the when I come across collections and everything. Being the first video, I'm going to keep this one pretty much short. The first album I'd like to show you is an album entitled The Bristol Sessions. This is the album that came out in 1987, and it has, of course, this is with Jimmie Rodgers and the Carter family, where their first recordings came. Ralph Peer went down to Bristol, Tennessee, and set up shop there, and had a newspaper article out, and the Carter family and Jimmie Rodgers both saw him, and their first recordings are on here, along with other people that also answered the newspaper ad. Ernest Phipps, for example, the Stone family are on this album, the Johnson brothers, and several really early pioneers of country music. If you come across this album, pick it up. It's a good listen, and it's also a great history. As Johnny Cash said in the bottom here, these recordings in Bristol in 1927 are the single most important event in the history of country music. And it's a good listen, a good history sample also. One I just got through finding, Jerry Jeff Walker. It's a great night for singing. Haven't had a chance to listen to this yet, but like some Jerry Jeff Walker, and I'm looking forward into getting into this album and listening to it. I haven't even cleaned it yet. I just picked it up over the weekend, and I'm haven't had a chance to clean it and put it on the turntable. So I'm excited about hearing some Jerry Jeff Walker this week. The Stetson people in England are reproducing the old Capitol and RCA records that came out in the 50s. This one is Ira and Charlie Louvin from 1958 that was released. It was released by Stetson, I guess probably about 10 or 15 years ago. And they are also, not only are they reproducing the album covers, there's the back of it, but it's, you know, it's also, the quality of the sound is good, and Stetson really does a good job. A lot of these old country albums that they're producing. So this one, for example, Ira and Charlie from 1958, is a great album. It's got the Tennessee Waltz on it, and Don't Let Your Sweet Love Die, Take Me Back Into Your Heart, and Make Believe, and several other country classics. And this is a great album. I enjoy that very much. In 1949, Hank Williams produced a radio show. It's called The Health and Happiness Show. They went into the, where was it? They were recorded on 16-inch transcription discs at the Castle Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. And they produced 8 shows in 1949, starring Hank Williams, and of course they were mailed to radio stations all throughout the country. Of course, the group is Hank Williams with Jerry Rivers on fiddle, Don Helms on steel guitar, Robert Nett on electric guitar, Ellis Buttram on bass, and Grant Turner, the old Grand Ole Opry announcer himself, does the announcing for this radio program. There are 4 programs. This is a 2-disc set. There's a second set that goes along with this one. But if you big Hank Williams fans, if you haven't seen these records, They are a great side of Hank Williams and the Drifting Cowboys. And I enjoy listening to these a lot. I've heard them so much that I know them pretty much by heart, but I still enjoy listening to Hank Williams' Health and Happiness shows. You fine folks that are in West Virginia know this gentleman. His name was Doc Williams, and he was famous on Wheeling, West Virginia's WWVA radio show. He was very popular there. As a matter of fact, one of the things that he helped make that radio show, so that radio station, popular. Later went to the Grand Ole Opry, but didn't have the success in America or in Tennessee like he did up in Wheeling, West Virginia. This is the second series of album I found from Doc Williams. He recorded from, I guess, the late 1930s all up into the 60s. And he just had a great style and several hits. I mean, Mary of the Wild Moor, he did a record in 1949 called Red Wing, which is a very enjoyable song also. So if you ever get a chance to listen to any Doc Williams, pick up an album or two of his if you can find them. They're fairly rare. I found these two in a yard sale years ago, and have been listening to them ever since. It's a great listen. Great, good country music there. Here's another album on the Starday label. A lot of collectors collect Starday records. And the main reason is because they're not made anymore, number one. And Starday, during the heyday of the Nashville Sound, when RCA and Capitol and Columbia were trying to soften country music, Starday was going full bore with the fiddles and the banjos and the steel guitars, and they weren't willing to play that game, and they produced a lot of authentic country music. This one is the Opry Spotlight on Cowboy Copas, which is a good listen also. Cowboy Copas was an authentic country music guitarist and singer, and of course he was killed in that plane crash with Patsy Cline and Hawkshaw Hawkins. But a very good authentic country music singer was Cowboy Copas. And this album here, Starday produced several of his albums, and they recorded a lot of great talent. George Jones started out on Starday, and there were several other, oh gosh, I can't think of them all. Minnie Pearl recorded on Starday, and several country artists went to Starday. So the Starday records are really good country albums, good traditional country albums. This is a collection that came out in 1985 from Columbia Records, and it was called the Columbia Historic Edition. This is Floyd Tillman's album, but Columbia Records went out and they produced a lot of the old, went back and get to the library and got a lot of the old star Roy Acuff's early records. They did an album on Roy Acuff, they did an album on Bill Monroe, they did an album on Gene Autry, all the old stars that came out. And there's a whole series of these. This is Floyd Tillman's greatest hits. For those of you that may not be familiar with Floyd Tillman, he was popular pretty much in the late 1940s and early 50s. He had several hits out. Driving Nails in My Coffin was one. Each Night at 9 was another. I Love You So Much It Hurts Me. That was probably one of his biggest hits. Patsy Cline later re-recorded that one and had a hit off of it. And each one of these albums goes down through the early years of the artist and just produced a great bunch of recordings, and they're really good classical country albums. They did Lefty Frizzell also, and so many others. So the Columbia Historic Edition that was put out in '85 is some really great albums. I used to be a big Jim Reeves fan. I still am, what am I saying? But I collected all of Jim's records. everything from 1954 on up into the mid-1980s when they finally stopped. His wife died, and they stopped looking for, stopped looking for new material for people to listen to. Gentleman Jim had a great voice. A lot of people that listen to country music like Jim Reeves, and a lot of people that don't like country music and like nothing but pop music like Jim Reeves. He fits in both categories with that smooth velvet voice of his. This is an album that's called A Touch of Velvet. It was released in 1962. And it's not really a country album. It's pop. I'll be honest with you. It's got the Anita Carr singers backing him up, and the violins and all are on this also. But it is a beautiful album. He does a lot of Welcome to My World came off this album. It was recorded in '62. But he does a lot of his version of I Fall to Pieces and Am I That Easy to Forget, Blue Skies, All Dressed Up and Lonely, a whole bunch of just good songs. Okay? Great album. Okay, and that's about all I've got for this week. I'm running out of time, so I just want to wish everybody a great day and just hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned. I'll be back soon. Okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.